So welcome everyone. Please close your eyes. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Another deep breath in and exhale. One more deep breath in and exhale. Remembering our parents, our guru, receiving their energy. We start today's class. So how is everyone? So let us start the next part of the chapter, sense organ. We have covered a few sense organs. For example, ear, nose, tongue, we have covered. One part is left and that is eye. It's a very beautiful part, very important part. And more than understanding the structure of the organ, sense organ eye, will understand more about the diseases related to eye. So what is there in eye? Eye. So if we understand the structure of eye, it is something like this. If we cut a section, vertical section of the eye like this, what we are seeing from front is only a part of the whole organ. Whole organ is inside the orbit, inside the cavity. So if you have seen the skull, the bony part of this structure, then you must have seen there's a hollow cavity inside, isn't it? Hollow cavities, circular cavities on the face. So that circular cavity has the organ eye within it. That means if you take out eye from the face, it's a circular spherical structure. So if you cut, it's like a lemon, small lemon which is inserted here. So if you cut a section through that spherical thing vertically, what you will see is a structure something like this. So it's a round structure and it has different layers. So first is front part is little elevated. On that elevated part, there is a covering. This covering is nothing but conjunctiva, the thin membranous covering which is protecting the eye from outside. Conjunctiva. Inside, eye has one layer which is called the sclera. So this whole thing is sclera. Sclera. Inside sclera, there is another layer which is called choroid. Okay, and it's a continuous structure inside the spherical structure. And innermost, just a minute. Inside, innermost layer, the most important layer, this layer is called retina. Okay, we have some nerves which are taking the sensation of vision to the brain. And these nerves are nothing but the optic nerves. In the central part, towards the anterior, there's a structure, oblong structure called lens. This is lens. The front part, this part, has some muscles, some ligaments which are holding the lens in place. These are called ciliary muscles. Also, this part has some fluid. Even the back part has fluid in it, which is actually providing the nourishment, giving the shape to the structure, and also helps in vision. So front part, the liquid or the fluid is called aqueous humor, AQUOUS, aqueous humor. And the back side fluid is called vitreous humor, VITREOUS, vitreous humor. Okay, so this is actually the basic structure of eye, vertical section of the eye. Front part also has another part which is called the surrounding part, this part. If you see the front part of the eye, then you see the black of the eye and the central darker zone, isn't it? So this all around circular zone is called the iris, IRIS, iris. So this is iris. And the central hollow zone through which the light actually penetrates into the eye is called pupil, PUPIL. So this is pupil. Okay, so this is vertical section of eye. So where is this light entering from? The light actually enters from this part, pupil, travels the aqueous humor, again travels through the lens, passes through the vitreous humor, and falls on a point. Actually, this diagram is not exact diagram of eye. Otherwise, this point is somewhere here. This point is somewhere here. So this point where the image is formed, this point where the image is formed, this is called FOVEA, fovea centralis. So the light rays, if you see the light rays, if this is lens, the light rays travel like this and focuses on a point and forms the image. Whatever we are seeing, it is forming an image. So this is the image which is formed. Okay, so this point where the image is formed is fovea centralis. And we see this image only when the impulse is carried to the brain, to the optic area, and converts the light rays into an image. So again, central nervous system plays a very important role. Okay, fine. So this is how we see. I'll show you some pictures which are really good pictures to understand the structure of eye. This is a very clear, very simple, simplest of all picture of vertical section of eye. So what we have already seen now are the structures. Outermost layer called sclera, next inner layer is called choroid, and innermost layer is called retina. So these are the three layers or coverings of eye, three layers. outermost sclera, middle one choroid, and innermost retina. So here comes the term retina, where you may get patients who are coming to you for retinal detachment or retinal problem. Retinal problem is there. Retinal hemorrhage is there. So this is the innermost layer which is getting affected. Retina. Okay. This is fovea centralis, where the image is formed. These are the nerves and the blood vessels which are carrying and supplying nourishment to the eye and carrying the impulse to the brain. Optic nerve. This is the ligament, ciliary ligament, which I was talking about. This is lens, this whole oblong structure. The outermost layer is called cornea. Front of the eye has cornea, and central area through which the light enters is called pupil. All around the black or brown or blue or green, whatever structure you see inside the eye, in the middle of the eye is iris, and this is ciliary body. Okay, so this is one image which is very nice. See this is also very nice picture to understand. Pupil, sclera, and iris. So these three structures you understand from this picture. So what is sclera? White of the eye. If I ask you what is sclera, white of the eye is called sclera. So why sclera is important to understand in our acupressure therapy? Because, like for example, in treatise 7, you have come across eye diagnosis. So there it is written, sclera is related to lung, isn't it? Sclera of eye is related to lung. So what is sclera? This is sclera. So this is not the only part of eye. This is also behind. It's a spherical thing. If I show you something like this, just a minute. It's not spherical. Like if this is the white of the eye, so this is also behind it. This is a continuous three-dimensional structure. The white of the eye is not the only front part. If this is eye, so this is not the only part which you are seeing is sclera. Sclera is also behind it. So all around is sclera. So outermost covering of the lemon, for example, is sclera. Okay, and pupil and iris. So iris is also very important. Pupil is also very important. Maybe in future we'll discuss and understand about iris also. This seeing the iris, you can diagnose a patient. Seeing the iris. So this all around part, this also helps in diagnosis. Also, sclera helps in diagnosis. So what type of structure, what color, what is the color of sclera, which part of the sclera is yellow, which part of sclera is red. This also plays a very important role in diagnosis. And iris, pupil is in all ways is very important because this is the area through which light enters. This we have already seen. Yes, this is a very nice picture, very simple picture to understand how image is formed. So here you can see, this is what we are seeing, isn't it? Anything, like you are seeing the screen right now. So how you are seeing, because from the screen, the light rays are falling into the eye. How the light rays are falling into the eye? Through the pupil. Through the pupil, the light rays are entering into your eye. And it is crossing the aqueous humor, then lens, then vitreous humor, and falling on the backside of the eye. And that is fovea centralis. After falling here, after the rays are falling here, the impulse is taken to the brain. Okay. So this is a very nice picture to understand how image is formed. This is very important. No need to understand the structure of this thing, but you must have come across this term, rod cells and cone cells are present in the eye, isn't it? So these are the rod and the cone cells. Why I'm showing you this picture, specifically this picture, to make you understand and to remember it throughout your life that rod cells are actually rod shaped. Cone cells are cone shaped. Okay. And what is the function of these rod cells and cone cells? Rod cells are also called photoreceptors. Photoreceptors. These are responsible for vision in low light. So whenever there is dim light or low light, which type of cells will help you in seeing the object or seeing the surrounding? Rod cell. Okay, that is why this type of vision is also called scotopic. TOPIC. Scotopic vision. Simpler or easier term for scotopic vision is night vision. So what is helping you in seeing the surrounding in dim light or low light or night time? The rod cells, because rod cells are photosensitive cells. Okay. What are cone cells? Cone cells are the cells which are again photoreceptors. These are also photoreceptor cells. Okay. But these are responsible for vision in high light or bright light. And this type of vision is also called photopic. TOPIC. Photopic vision or color vision, because in bright light you can see the different colors brightly. So this type of vision is called color vision or photopic vision. So cone cells are for bright light, rod cells are for dim light. And you have seen the picture. This is the diagram of rod cell and cone cell. Okay, so no need to go through the detail of the cell. Where is axon, where is nucleus, where is mitochondria? No, I'm not interested in the detailed structure. Just see the shape. Rod cells are rod shaped, cone cells are conical, pointed. Okay. Now this is important. This is where we will start with the diseases related to eye. So now we know the structure of the eye. There are three layers. Where is sclera? Where is choroid? Where is retina? Where is lens? Where is aqueous humor? Where is vitreous humor? Where is cornea? Okay, this we know. Where is the optic nerve? This part is clear to us. Now come to the disease part related to eye. Most common diseases are, most common diseases are: number one, first understand what is normal. If you don't understand normal, how will you understand disease? So normal is EMMETROPIA, emmetropia. Emmetropia. Okay, so what is emmetropia? It is a desired condition of eye. It's a desired condition. That means we want this condition. This is not a disease. This is normal condition, bestest condition. So it is a desired condition of eye in which parallel rays of light after entering on retina and form crisp image. So crisp image is formed crisp image is formed in the eye, and this condition, if the vision is, if the viewing power is crisp, the image formed is sharp, image formed is clear, clarity is there, then this condition is called emmetropia. Okay, so this is normal. If this is not there, then there is a diseased condition, imbalanced condition. Okay, and here the image is formed on fovea centralis. You know what is fovea centralis now, isn't it? Fovea centralis. So if this is eye, this is lens. So image, the rays, light rays after traveling are falling on fovea centralis. So this condition is emmetropia. Okay, so this is normal. Now the next condition is, see this. Focus on this part. So after traveling and transversing, crossing the lens, the rays are falling on fovea centralis. So this is normal vision, image formed at retina. The next condition is called myopia. How to remember? There are actually two terms. One is myopia and another one is hypermetropia. In general, what do we say? Whether the eye power is plus or minus, isn't it? So this plus or minus is nothing but myopia or hypermetropia. So this is a scientific term which we use. Now, from this time onwards, you will start saying whether the eye vision is myopic or hypermetropic. How to remember this? Myopia is a small word. Hypermetropia. Hypermetropia is a bigger word. So this is in children. This is in adults. ADULTS, adults. Okay, this is how we remember. So myopia in children, hypermetropia in adults. Normally. So myopia is usually in children, if the eye power is diagnosed, and usually it is minus power. That means short-sightedness. That means they cannot see the things which are far away. Distant vision is blurred. Hypermetropia in adults, what happens? They can see if the vision is okay till the adult age, and after that, if the vision is getting problematic, then what happens is they are unable to see the things which are close by. So if they are reading something, they'll see it like this because they are unable to see close by things. So that is hypermetropia. Okay, so what is myopia? This is called short-sightedness. What is the meaning of short-sightedness? That means they can see short distancing. That is short-sightedness. This is also called near-sightedness. Okay, common in children, and also the image formed is before retina. Where is the image formed? It is formed before retina. It is not formed on retina, it is formed before retina. Near objects are clear. Far objects blur. Unable to see far off objects. It is corrected by biconcave lens. Biconcave means something like this. This type of lens is called biconcave lens. Okay. Second one is hypermetropia. What is hypermetropia? Hypermetropia, as I said, it's a bigger word. So big means in adults. So this problem is seen in adults usually. So what type of vision is there? They're far-sightedness. That means they can see the far of things well, but near objects are difficult to see. So number one, this is called far-sightedness. Common in adults, and also image is formed behind retina. Behind retina. So if this is retina, if this is retinal wall, then in case of myopia, image is formed here before retina. And in case of hypermetropia, after traveling, the image is formed behind retina. Okay, this is retina. So behind the retina, the image is formed. So how to correct it? It is corrected by biconcave lens. So what type of lens is used? This is biconcave. Bi means two-sided. So this side and this side, both are concave. So this type of lens is called corrected by biconcave lens. Okay. Here near, oh, I'm so sorry, biconvex. Yes, thank you for correcting. Biconvex. Near objects are blur, far off objects are clear. Okay, is this clear to everyone? What is myopia? What is hypermetropia? Farsightedness and short-sightedness. Okay. Now another problem which you must have come across very frequently is cylindrical power. Plus power, minus power, and along with that, the power again which arises, the problem says it's a cylindrical power. So what is that cylindrical power? Like the plus power is hypermetropia or myopia? Plus power is hypermetropia and minus power is myopia. What is cylindrical power? The cylindrical power is called astigmatism. 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 Okay. Now what is happening here? Like see, the outermost eye curvature. If you see your eye in the mirror, it's not a straight flat. It's not a flat area. Is this a flat area? No, it is not. It has a curvature. So this cornea also has a curvature. The outermost covering of the eye in front, it also has a curvature. And this curvature is, it should be uniform all around. So it should be all around, it should be uniform. Curvature should be uniform. But if it gets tilted, like for example, if it is tilted here, then what will happen? The rays which are entering from one side is normal, but another side it will, the light will get distorted. So this is creating a problem in vision that is called astigmatism, and the power is called cylindrical power. Okay, so what happens is the person sees things not very clear. It becomes little hazy. I'll show you a very beautiful picture with how a person can see an object with cylindrical power. So this is what is astigmatism. You can just note down a few lines about it. Curvature of cornea is same in each angle. This is a normal condition. That curvature is normal. Curvature is same all around. But if this curvature is disturbed at horizontal or vertical axis, causes cylindrical power. So this is astigmatism. Okay. So now you can see this diagram, myopia and hypermetropia. In myopia, you can see the image is formed in front of the retina. In case of hypermetropia, the image is formed behind retina. Is this clear to everyone now? Myopia, hypermetropia. So this is an image to show hyperopia means hypermetropia. Myopia and another term is myopia. So myopia is corrected by biconcave lens. You can see the type of lens which is used. Okay, so this is a type of eyeglasses which we wear. And hypermetropia is, you can see it is biconvex, the lens. Yes, this is a very beautiful picture. See the normal vision. First, see the normal vision. This is normal vision. A person sees an image like this, whatever the person sees in front, it's like this. But if a person suffers from high cylindrical power, the person sees it like this. So you can see the hazy lines, vertical, invertical, or some angular distorted lines. So that is astigmatism. And it is also corrected through lens. Okay, so this is the third problem after myopia, hypermetropia, astigmatism. Next ailment which is related to eye only is color blindness. Blindness. Color blindness. So what is color blindness? Color blindness doesn't mean the person is unable to see color. Color blindness means there are three basic colors. Three basic colors are red, blue, and green. So if someone is suffering, color blindness is a genetic disorder. It's not a only physical disorder of the eye. Okay. So if someone is having color blindness, the person is unable to distinguish between red, blue, and green. This is color blindness. And this is because of some absence of some type of cells which are color cells, cone cells. Cone cells. Cone cells are responsible for color blindness. So this is a rare case, but there are people who suffer from color blindness. Now, this is a very important term which we should understand. And actually, there are two terms. One is accommodation. ACCOMODATION. Accommodation. Accommodation means adjustment. Okay. And this accommodation of light into the eye is through two ways. One is by how you accommodate light in your eye. This is, understand this, how you accommodate light which is entering into your eye by two ways. One is by adjusting the pupil. What is pupil? The black of the eye, central black part. So by adjusting this black of the eye, we can accommodate light. So if you want more light, you increase the aperture. If you want to decrease the light which is entering in the eye, you reduce the aperture of the pupil. It is like using your camera. Okay. And how you do it? Nervous system. You don't ask your eye to increase the aperture or decrease the aperture. It happens through the nervous system, through the autonomic nervous system, sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. Okay. So by adjusting pupil. And second is by adjusting lens. So if you remember, the lens were hanging through some ligaments. So if you adjust these ligaments, you can increase the aperture of lens. So if you pull it, the lens is becoming longer. If you if the ligaments are getting loose, then what will happen? The aperture will become shorter. So one is through pupil and second is through lens. So this is how we can accommodate light in different ways. Another term which we should know is, this is one term. Another term we should know is called visual acuity. ACUITY, acuity, visual acuity. Visual acuity is a term which is used for clarity of vision. So how is your visual acuity? That means how clear is your vision? So it's a medical term. So if the medical practitioner want to ask you, or if the person is writing in the prescription, the clarity of vision, then he may use the term visual acuity. So this is a term which we should know. Okay. So this is about eye. So it was a very beautiful topic. And if you go through the different ailments, there can be n number of ailments related to eye. We have the whole treatise on eye. Then you will at least understand, if you know the structure of eye, if you know the parts of eye, then you will be able to understand all the ailments related to eye. I'll show you a very beautiful 3D structure of eye. See, this is eyeball, whole of the eyeball. This is the front of the eye, front of the eyeball. Okay, and it is a vertical section. That means I'm cutting a section, I'm cutting the lemon into two halves vertically, and this is what we see inside. So that is why we always see the structure of eye like this. If we are seeing a vertical section of the eye. Why are we seeing this section? Because this is how the eye looks like from the inside. What are the different layers? See the outermost layer, sclera, middle layer, choroid, innermost layer, retina. So outermost whole of the, it is not only single one cell layer, it is whole of the inside of the eye which is red. Not red, but retina is there, innermost covering. Okay, so here you can see it as red layer. This is the central vein which is supplying the eye, and also you can see the different nerves, optic nerve, which is conducting the impulse to the brain. Now this is the transparent jelly like thing is the lens. And you can see the light rays which are falling on the this part. You can see a small groove here. So this groove is nothing but the fovea centralis, where the image is formed. So this is the iris, the brown or black or blue of the eye. This part is the pupil. So this black dot in the center is pupil. And outermost, this outermost covering, which is not, I don't think it is very much visible here, but this is actually the cornea. So this is about eye. And if we go into the detail, then you can see the ligaments. See the ligaments, fibers, which are holding the lens in place. Can you see it now? It's actually three-dimensional structure. So these filaments are also not only the vertical ones. This is from all around. Okay. So this was eye. I hope this was clear to every one of you. Okay.